Hello and welcome to the Late Mike Show. My name is Dan and this is my wife Sarah, and she moved all the way from America to the UK, and we've gone through spouse visas and all of that stuff, and now indefinite leave to remain, which it involves life in the UK test and all of this stuff. So we are going to cover what you actually had to do to live here.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone watching this thinking like, how do I even get a visa in the UK and all that stuff, our one is a spouse visa, so that's the only one we can talk about. But
yeah.
Maybe.
So the first step is like marry a British person.
So I thought we'd like actually talk about, because you've been here for 5 years.
Yeah.
Officially.
I feel like. So do you remember much about our first visa that we went through?
Yeah. Well, I remember not having a single clue, but I mean, I still don't really have a clue.
So for our first visa, I don't really remember when we got the paperwork. It was during that 5 months that I was here. And then we went back to the States to submit my visa, because you have to submit your first visa from outside of the UK. You can't apply being in
and
here.
It can take up to 3 months to come through.
Yeah. So we decided that you would come to America for 3 months and we would do a road trip and
in your car.
as the visa was being processed. But for the paperwork, the first visa was probably the most difficult. That was the only one that we hired a solicitor for.
I was about to say, we hired a.
Yeah, I don't think we needed them, to be fair. It's overwhelming seeing everything that you need, so you might be tempted to go to a solicitor. But like once you have all the paperwork that you need, they're not really doing anything. Do you feel that way?
They basically, in my mind, what they did was
gave us a checklist.
Gave us a checklist of what you needed, which should just be available online.
It is.
Just look at.
But they also apply for the visa for you, so they fill in all of your details.
But what I thought what I felt like they did was they gave us that checklist. We got all of the checklist stuff ourselves, because they can't help us with that, can they? Because you need bank statements and all that stuff. And then it's like they proofread it. Yeah. And then told us, you need to add this or you need to not have that. And, they just advised what else to include.
I think if you're nervous, I mean, go for it, get a solicitor, but it's just an additional cost, I think. Because we've done our last two by ourselves and it's been fine. But the first one was probably the most stressful, I think. Yeah. Well, that's not true. They're all stressful.
It wasn't the most stressful.
But the first one, I feel like you're the most anxious, because like we were just married. I had been here for 5 months on a visitor visa, and I was like, I didn't want to overstay, so we had to go back to the States. And like, what happens if it's denied? We're married. Like, what do we do?
What's weird about what I'm about to say is, obviously that is all exciting, but like the first one, I think there's a lot more excitement about it. Yeah. About starting our life
together.
Like, obviously, we wanted it to come through to be accepted, but we still had the option maybe for me to go to you or.
But the first one was
like that.
also.
The second one was when our daughter was in NICU.
NICU, yeah.
So that was
also stressful. But the first one, I think you need to prove a little bit more. Because we weren't living together, you have to prove your relationship, and then it's not an arranged marriage, and that we were both willing participants, and that we actually knew each other and all that stuff.
We have to prove our relationship, which is all messages
on the phone,
messages on Facebook Messenger, or
pictures of us together,
pictures of us on our own. I had to blank some stuff out of myself.
That was from our chat, like our messages.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was talking. We also had to submit pictures of like just when we were together.
Our messages. It's a fresh relationship. There's things in there that you don't want anyone to see. Am I crazy?
Because we met and got married so quickly. It was
6 months.
6 months. Like
the only evidence we had was
6 months of
the fifth time.
We've gone through our story. I don't want to go through that again.
The 5th time we actually met.
We were getting married.
Was getting married in Vegas.
Yeah.
Planned.
Obviously.
But like
we had to.
crazy?
Yeah. We had to.
The 5th time seeing you, but because we spent weeks together.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So because of the short amount of time that we had before we got married, we needed to. I don't think that's why, but we printed out all of our. We were talking on Facebook Messenger at the time, so we printed out all of that to show how long we've been talking, pictures of us together, and then there's a financial aspect. You have to meet a threshold. It changes all the time, so I won't bother saying a number. If convictions, if you have children from another partner, it's going to be way more complicated than if you don't have children, and yada yada. And then we went on a road trip after we submitted it. hoping
about the road trip.
hoping for the best. No, because that has nothing to do with me moving here, really.
I know, but we're going to be done in 5 minutes.
Short video. So we went on a road trip across 30 states in America in my car.
Or do you want to do the road trip as a whole episode
Yeah, I would
itself?
prefer that, but just
we'll do
just
a
as
whole
a
episode
recap.
about 30 states, 10,000 miles in America.
Yeah. And as we were winding down, like, so we went from Massachusetts. I'm not going to go into detail. We'll do that in a different episode, but we went from Massachusetts all the way to California through like the middle of the country.
Yeah.
And then we went down California and then through the bottom states of the country and then
East Coast.
and up the East Coast. Yeah. And when we were in like South Carolina, on our way back to Massachusetts, I got an email from the home office that my visa had been
Where were we?
accepted. South Carolina.
And that's where your sister's moved to now.
She lives in North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Damn it. I was going to say, what weird.
Yeah.
It's got no relevance at all.
No. So we were so excited. Do you remember that because we were waiting for, you used to have, it's all online now. You get an e-visa, but before it was a BRP card.
Yeah.
So we had to, shot back because you have to enter the country within a certain amount of days as well. So we shot back to Massachusetts like so fast and then packed all of my stuff and like officially came here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like.
And then the week after that, all the planes stopped. COVID.
Yeah.
The first lockdown.
We were so lucky to get my visa when we did.
I don't remember the
Otherwise,
exact dates and stuff, but yeah, when
it's like March 11th.
In March 2020, when the world shut down, we had literally just landed a few days before that. So if our flight was a bit late, a few days after or something like that, then I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah.
Or if we applied for your visa, something just told us like get married in 6 months, apply for it straight away, and all that stuff. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't have seen each other for like over a year.
Yeah.
Because of COVID.
Yeah.
Henry wouldn't exist, and Emmy would. Our kids would not exist. We wouldn't have our dog.
It was
have this house.
It was really surreal coming here though. Like I know it was COVID, but I feel like if you're planning to move to a different country, I don't have a huge family, and I also don't have a huge friend group. I have like, I've always had just a couple really close friends.
Yeah.
And then even though I had such a small circle around me, moving to a different country with nobody around me, and it was probably also because of COVID, but I felt so alone and I got like really down for a while. But it's also a culture shock. Like I remember first moving over here, it must have been maybe the 5 months that I'm mistaking in my head.
You weren't able to work and I was working.
Yeah.
And you had no friends.
I had no friends. And then I'm not trying to tarnish your friends in any way, but there were a couple of nights that it was boys' night and I just felt like the fuck, you know what I mean? Like I've never had girls' night. You can't bring your significant other or your partner.
It's a very big thing.
I'm not a fan of that. I won't lie.
It's not a thing that I even do.
Not anymore.
Did
no.
like 1 or 2 in our whole relationship. Boys' night?
Yeah. When I first got here, you went on a couple boys' nights and it was really difficult for me because I never had girls' night. No, I never had girls' night because I didn't have any friends here. So it would always just be.
I've always said to my mates, like, we are one. No, like
I don't. But now I'm at the point, like now that we have kids and I've been here for so long, like it's not a big deal as much anymore. But when I first got here, I just felt like I was a bit excluded from things.
I'm the sort of person that if one of my friends had a foreign wife, I would be going above and beyond to make them feel welcome here. Mm-hmm. So then I was just expecting that from my friends and family.
All your friends and family are lovely. I'm not in any way.
I know.
Not in any way.
I know that. But what I mean is, when there's been talk about doing stuff, I'm like, I feel like I was the person that was like, are girls allowed?
Yeah.
Because if
to me,
not,
that's just
that
like
means that you've got nothing to do.
To me, that's wild.
But I want you to be friends with my friends and their partners, and
to me, that is so wild. Like I would have like, I'll say her name, me and Kirsten dates, like just me and Kirsten going out, but that's like quality time together, and we could go out drinking or dancing or something, but like if you or if Peter really wanted to come, it wouldn't be like, no, he can't. You know what I mean? It would be like, we're catching up. If you wanted to go hang out with one of your guy friends to catch up, that's one thing. But like to go in a big group of guys out clubbing just seems like why are you not bringing your spouses? I don't know.
I want to put on record, I wasn't going out with my mates to just go clubbing.
You're going out drinking.
But it'd be like but it might be going to like watch a football game, or it might be watching, like, or go and play pool. It wasn't like, let's go to a nightclub together.
You were doing that though.
You end up there because you're smashed.
Yeah.
But it's not like, who wants to go clubbing? Let's go.
No, but like I think
my
my friend group has always my friend group has always been like, if we're going out, everybody's welcome. If it's like, oh, we're gonna catch up, it hasn't been just us for a while, let's go do something fun, and like that would be just
I can't talk
two
for
people.
Everyone obviously, but me and my friends, if we're going out for like a beer garden, Wetherspoons or something, for food and beers, and it's just boys or whatever, those beers turn into 5 beers, turn into 10 beers, that turns into the bars, and then we're going on after, we're going to the club, and then we're all just fucking idiots on the dance floor. It's not like, who wants to go out clubbing? It just results in that because you're fucking bollocks. Yeah,
but like I don't know. It must be either a culture thing or a social thing where like I was kind of a loser in high school, and like my friend group was always close and knit, and anybody's welcome to come in. And I feel like you had such a cliquey friend group that's just boys.
Cliquey?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You were like the popular kids.
Who was?
Your friend groups.
You don't know what you're on about. You have no idea. I was not the popular kid.
I always had all of my friends, doesn't matter what gender you are, we're all going out, have fun. It was never, boys, you can't come, girls only. Unless it was like getting ready part.
About your personal experience.
Yeah.
In where you grew up in Massachusetts and a different culture over here.
That's what I said. It's either a culture thing or it's a...
Like girls I went to school with,
class
there's
thing.
Like a big group of like 10, 15 of those girls. I'm just thinking of one group of them, and they're still all really close now. Like they were going girls' holidays, guys were going guys' holidays and stuff. But in those groups, they're still good friends between the guys and the girls.
That's why
there's a different vibe when it's just guys on a day out than when it's guys and girls, because guys are more well behaved in what they say.
It doesn't matter to me now.
So if when I've met with some of my friends, just me and some of my friends, the chat and the stuff we'd say, the jokes that we'd say to each other would be fucking nuts. And I don't understand why we do it, but if there's a single girl in there, they're on their best behaviour. And so I think what it is if they want a boys' night and they say, it's been years. It's been like 4 years since someone said girls aren't allowed.
Yeah, but it was at the very beginning of our
That
relationship.
if it's just boys, it's just going to be fucking nuts. And that's what they want.
I think my problem was because now
if girls aren't as fun, it's boys are less fun when girls are allowed.
I think now if like your friends were like,
people are going to watch this go, shut the fuck up.
If now your friends were like, can we have a boys' night? I don't think it would like hurt me as much, but back then I think it did because I didn't really know your friends, and you
didn't have the option to have.
I still don't.
Girls' night or the kids.
Yeah, but like I still don't have the option to do girls' night really, but like I think it was just that I didn't feel included in your friend group. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you shouldn't take that personally because none of the girls
are
involved in it.
I don't take it personally, but like I was upset about that.
It's definitely changed now because it's always like house parties, though, isn't it? But there's guys and girls. Like
there hasn't. I don't think I would be upset about it now. Like I think for
the only reason you'd be upset is if I went and other girls went.
Well, yeah, then I'd be like, the fuck.
You literally
no, but like I think at the very beginning of our relationship, it made me feel like a little bit left out. Yeah. So just.
But I feel like I've always been aware of that. I feel like I never took the piss.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, when I first came here for 5 months because of COVID, I think I'm remembering it correctly. But there was a couple of nights that you went out and stayed out like 6 o'clock in the morning when I first came over here. And that was like really hard for me because like bars in Boston don't stay open until 6. So like if you're going out, I'm assuming you're going to be back just subconsciously.
If I'm stepping in the door at 6 a.m., you're like, where have you been?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's shot half an hour ago. You're in England.
Yeah. So like that was really hard for me.
Yeah.
Just knowing the different culture and like I don't know.
Drinking culture is way different here, I think, as well, isn't it?
Yes and no. I think people in England like to think that they drink a lot, and in the States, I do feel like a lot of people grow out of that. Not to be like, I don't want to be putting anybody down or anything, but like,
you don't want to come across somebody
like when I was in my early 20s, like I probably could have, what is it, drank you under the table? Is that because that sounds dirty. I probably could have gone toe to toe with you on drinks because I was in my early 20s and I was drinking a lot and going out on weekends and things like that. But then as you inch closer to like your 30s, most people like slow down on drinking, and it's like a once in a while thing. Yeah.
It's like a bragging thing here, and I've never really understood it.
I understand it when you're like new to drinking.
Yeah.
But that's because that's my culture.
If you're 30 or in your 30s and you are bragging to your friends, I drank so much last night. I had 9 beers and I had 4 whiskeys and three. It's not cool. Like, cool.
Yeah.
You spent a shitload of money. You drank a lot of stuff and you probably pissed about 9 times. Cool. What else did you do with your night?
And I think that's our struggle.
What else did you do? What else is fun?
I think that's our struggle now, is like finding something that isn't drinking, because like we have the occasional drink, but it's not something.
We covered it on the podcast, but I didn't drink for 8 months.
Yeah.
Since that, I've had a beer and a cider.
Yeah.
Working away with.
And I don't really drink.
But now I feel like I'm at a place where I'm not like telling myself off if I have a drink. If I have 1 beer, I'm not like, oh, I broke that big.
Yeah.
8 month.
It's not like you quit for a reason. It's just.
Yeah, but I'm like that. But this is controversial. I think beer pong is the most boring thing.
I used to really like beer pong. Beer pong can be fun.
I think it is the most boring thing in the world at a house party at my age.
I think if
I played it so many times.
If you have a very small group, like 6 people, and you play teams and then the other 2 are like watching, that can be fun. But when it's a big house party and people are like, oh, I want next, and then it's like rushing through, and then one person's at the table forever and you never get to speak to them because they're constantly playing beer pong. The social aspect is like somewhat removed.
I'll change it up.
Yeah.
A couple of games, fine.
Yeah.
If beer pong goes on for half an hour to an hour, or definitely over an hour, and there is 6 of you or more in the party, change it up. I like different thing. You've had an hour there.
I much prefer things like Flip Cup or like group games that like as many people as possible can play. I like those kind of games, card games, things like that. Those are really fun. But beer pong, I think it's only not fun because it's such a small amount of people that can play it at a time.
Plus, if you're in 3s, then you've got less goes.
Yeah.
You've got 1 throw, and you got to wait ages for your turn.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna neck it. Let's play something else instead of you drinking a sip if you sink a cup.
But I don't want this to come across as me like shitting on British culture, because
no, I want it to come across as me shitting on my own culture.
Because pub culture is like a really big thing in England.
You're just not a heavy drinker.
I just don't drink that much anymore, and I don't like. I have plenty of alcoholics in my past and my family and stuff. Bragging. So I think I'm just a little bit more careful about what I do around the kids, drinking around the kids.
You've seen the absolute worst case scenario of drinking a lot.
So I'm hesitant on drinking, and I'm somebody who likes to be in control of myself. So like if I start feeling myself getting a little bit too drunk, I definitely pull back and slow down. It's just I don't know.
I don't notice that until maybe I'm like tipsy, but then I feel tipsy for like an hour. But in that hour, I've had like 3 or 4 drinks, and then they all hit me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm drunk, but then I'm always in a happy.
You're very happy
mood.
Yeah,
which means I just continue getting another drink.
Yeah,
I'm not like I can't have any more.
You have been like that.
That's when I've maxed out though.
Yeah, but like I think for me, I'm just. I don't want to keep blaming trauma for like things that like why I am the way I am, but I do think that it has.
That's why everyone's way there.
I do think that it has a lot.
Shapes everyone.
I think it has a lot to do with who I am because I like to feel control of myself because I've been in situations where I've had to be
you couldn't even
control
have gas
of myself.
and air when you're in labour because you felt dizzy and
yeah.
yourself.
Well, this is going way off topic from like going for a visa, but when I went back to the States and I was in the hospital because I had my gallbladder removed in the UK and then a gallstone was stuck in my bile duct, so I had to go to the hospital. And they were giving me morphine and I absolutely hated the way that it made me feel. It made you feel like loopy and things like that. And then I started getting a rash where they had the IV.
Yeah.
So they were like, maybe you're allergic, you're like developing an allergy to the morphine. And I was like, oh shit, I'm still in a lot of pain. Like, what are we going to do? And they said, we'll try a different pain med. And I was like, okay. And then they suggested Dilaudid, which like I was there because I had a friend who was on hospice with cancer and he was given Dilaudid. Yeah. And I was just thinking like, he's in a shit ton of pain. I'm not in that much pain. You sure I need Dilaudid? And then they gave it to me and I was like, I don't want this ever again. I do not like not feeling like myself.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I'll have a couple of drinks every once in a while.
You sound like you need a beer. Let's go on to the second visa.
I'll just finish that up by saying like when you move to a different country, it is a bit of a culture shock. If you're going somewhere for a person and you're the only person that I really knew here, it can feel isolating as well.
Yeah. Of course.
Not because of you or anything like that, but
no,
just
yeah, of course, because you've gone from having even if
a
your
family
circle
and
is 8 people, you've now shrunk that down to one person.
Yeah.
And all of those people still are important to you. They just live. It's not that you fell out with them.
But the time difference and it's hard.
Miles.
It's hard to stay connected even with the phone.
Yeah. But yeah, the second visa is basically
the same, but we didn't have to prove our relationship as much.
It's more renewing it, isn't it?
Yeah. So we had to prove that we lived at the same address. That was proof enough for our relationship.
Yeah. Everything's paperless, isn't it? Like bills and all that stuff. But keep everything that comes.
Yeah.
Everything that comes through your door, just keep it into a file, because you never know when you're gonna need to prove your
residency. I had to switch everything, like my UK bank account and anything that would be mailed to me. Mm-hmm. I had to switch to not paperless because of the visa. I had to keep those things.
That people don't talk about, like the whole immigration and stuff. It's also killing the planet without paperwork.
I'm sure there's a way that we could have gotten that stuff without going paper, but
we've done it 3 times now. The first one, the renewal, and then we've just done
the first one was paper, probably that high.
Yeah, and I don't think we probably needed half of it, but that much of it was chat.
Yeah.
Like our messages. And that was 9 screenshots.
We have always gone under the impression that giving more proof is better than not enough proof. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what we tend to do.
People could be watching this going, what? Yeah. I've got my citizenship here and I've literally given him 5 pieces of paper each time. But I don't want to get about my personal situation, but because I'm a sponsor and my job, I needed to prove a lot more stuff.
Yeah, because of the job title that you have.
Yeah, and all this stuff. So it wasn't just my bank statements. It was also like business stuff.
Yeah.
Insurance policy stuff and all this rubbish.
Yeah. But we had
had nothing to do with if you're allowed to stay or not.
I actually just read it the other day because we just did my final visa thing. Aside from citizenship, but I was going through the paperwork trying to see if we could use anything from the last visa on this renewal, and I found we were in NICU when we applied for this visa, and like one of the questions when you're answering, like filling out the visa application is there any other reason that you should stay in the UK? And my answer was, yeah, my daughter's in hospital here and she can't come out. Yeah, she's in neonatal intensive care. And then once you submit your visa, they give you a list of all the documents you need. And one of them was a piece of paper to prove that statement. And I was like,
you say you have to back it up with evidence.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, what do I do to prove that Emmy is in intensive care? And it would be bad if I left because I'm supplying her milk and I'm her mother.
That was crazy.
So we asked like one of the head nurses to write us a letter, and I just read it the other day and I do remember it, but I think the most interesting part is at the very end they wrote it would be detrimental to Emmy and Emmy's health if Sarah was forced to leave the country. Yeah.
Great letter that is.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So yeah, we submitted that one. We did not pay for expedited, so we did not hear back for, I think it was a month later we got my visa approval.
Yeah.
Every single time you fly somewhere, you're going to be terrified coming back into the country.
Yeah. And if you go on holiday for more than 2 weeks, you need to document that.
The dates, yeah.
The dates. If it's under 2 weeks, you don't have to.
Yeah.
So just go for 13 days max, and you don't have to worry about it.
And you can't spend more than 180 days out of the country per visa.
Yeah.
Or you'll lapse your visa. But.
So you got the second one.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you up to 5 years up to now. We knew that this one. You've got two options, haven't you? It's either indefinite leave to remain or another renewal.
Yeah.
And we weren't actually sure what to do at one point, were we?
Well, because the indefinite leave to remain, your waiting time is up to 6 months.
Yeah.
So we had a holiday booked for when my visa expired. So that's why we were considering doing a renewal, so we would get the answer quicker. But
we would have just got back from we would have been getting back from holiday yesterday.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
But we moved it
because we were stupid and booked it.
We saved 600 quid by moving it to an earlier date.
Yeah. But I wasn't I don't know what happened because I'm usually pretty on top of what I need for the next visa renewal and things like that. But I just for some reason had it in my head that it was the same exact thing that we did back in 2022. Yeah. So I had no idea that I needed to pass a life in the UK test for my indefinite leave to remain. And that's what stressed me out because we got back from our holiday in May. And then I thought it was very close to the beginning of June. My visa expired on June 24th. And I thought I'll apply for the visa the 1st of June when the kids go back to school. And I have time to find the paperwork and stuff. What are you doing?
I'm going to get up some questions.
I have it right here.
Oh, okay.
So I think it was the 1st of June, I started filling out the application for my visa and gathering paperwork and stuff. Yeah. And then one of the questions was, have you passed your life in the UK test? And I was like, no, I need that to apply for the visa. So I had no idea. And the next life in the UK test wasn't for 2 weeks. So I was stressed because of the time.
You had, what was it? You had 3.5 weeks left of you.
No, so I just said my visa expired on the 24th.
Yeah.
I started the application process on June 1st, but my life in the UK test was on June 13th. So I had it might not have been June 1st. It was whatever month, the first
3 days to.
It was the first Monday in June that I started filling out the paperwork. I don't know if it was June 1st. And the 13th was the first life in the UK test.
Yeah, but booking. You had I swear you had 4 days to revise for it. 4 or 5 days.
I don't remember. I don't know.
But the life in the UK test is a test that you need to take. Immigrants need to take. Is that the word? Migrants?
Yeah, migrants.
To get indefinite leave to remain here, settlement here.
Yeah.
And it's a test that British people would fail.
I would fail the American one, though.
It is absolutely ludicrous.
Some of the questions are extremely easy, like what day is Christmas Day? But some of them are extremely hard. And Dan was I've already passed it because Dan talked when I was studying. He said, do you want to do it on a podcast and we can study? And it just to me felt like a jinx. I couldn't, I had to pass it.
So Sarah passed first time. And by the way, if you do the life in the UK test, you aren't given your score.
No.
You just get told pass or fail. So you might have just scraped it or you might have absolutely
I remember when I took the test, so it's 24 questions, I think. I don't know. But I knew some of them. I had no questions about it. I knew the answer. But then when I finished the test, I went back through because there were some that I was struggling with. I went back through and counted how many I was unsure of. Yeah. And then I think I put the best answer that I possibly could. And I think there were 6. And I was like, if all 6 of these are wrong, I'm fucked.
How many are you allowed to get wrong? 4.
You have to have 80%. So whatever 80% of 24 is.
I can't even answer that, let alone. let me read some questions then. And what we'll do is you can
if they're boring, just give us, because I don't need this study guide anymore. Just click start test. If they're boring, just give an answer and move on.
This segment is. Wait for us to cough. This segment is the life in the UK test, and this is what people need to pass to get settlement in the UK. It's what Sarah's done. She passed it, and I genuinely believe that if you grew up in the UK, you're not going to pass this unless you're a genius.
Let's remember, because Dan's going to ask me the questions. I haven't studied since the 13th of June because that's when I took my test and passed. So I haven't really looked at this stuff in a couple of weeks.
I mean, some of these are just true and false. So
yeah.
I'm just going to click whatever, and I'm not even reading it.
That's fine. I don't need this.
What important change to our voting rights took place in 1969? You get 4 options. Do you need the options, or do you need...
I think that is the year that men and women were both allowed to vote at 18.
All right. There's women over 35 were given the vote.
No.
Prisoners were given the vote. No. The voting age was reduced to 18 for men and women.
That's what I just said.
I'm just reading out the option. I'm just saying that you know the answer without me even asking.
Okay, sorry.
You know what I mean? I'm doing this because I'm so impressed with.
I thought I gave you the wrong answer, so you were like giving me Okay, sorry.
But honestly, I'm so super, super, super proud of you because
Thank you.
You were so stressed about it, and you revised for this in 4 days. You paid 12 quid for like an online course.
Yeah, the official.
And it says use 3 months.
Yeah,
it's 3 months to
revise this. Yeah,
to study this, and you did it in 4 days, and she can answer them without me even. Yeah, I couldn't do that. Which of the following statements? I'm not going to bother with that one. But by the way, that one I just asked you, I didn't know the answer to it.
Oh,
didn't have a clue. Which of the following statements is correct? The UK is governed by Parliament sitting in Westminster.
Yes.
It's governed by Parliament sitting in Edinburgh. Yeah, that's it. Some of them are easy.
Well, that's the Scottish Parliament is in Edinburgh, which is called
Scottish Parliament.
No.
What? I don't know.
Holyrood. That's how I pronounce it in my head.
I know that.
The Northern Ireland one is Stormont, and the Welsh one is Syned.
The Commonwealth has no power over its members, and it cannot suspend their membership.
False.
Wouldn't have a clue. Would not literally. I'm not just saying this for the podcast. I don't have a clue.
They can leave at any time.
I am not the smartest though, to be fair. So if you're watching this, you might even know it. Who was reigning in England when Wales became formally united with England?
King Henry VIII.
Yeah. I think I would have got that only because you've told me.
Yeah.
The Elizabethan period is known for the richness of its poetry and drama, especially for the plays and poems of which...
William Shakespeare.
To be fair, William Shakespeare, I think that everyone's going to get that right. And my point of this being really hard isn't coming across. It sounds really easy now. I think it's better if you ask me the questions, and I am genuinely going to answer as truthfully as I possibly can. This is a British person doing the Life in the UK test, and I'm going to try as hard as I can because I believe that it's ridiculous.
Which of the following is not a fundamental principle of British life? Tolerance of those with different faiths and beliefs, the rule of law, autocracy, or democracy?
C, because I never heard that word in my life.
Yes. That was an easy one.
I don't know what it means, though.
Which of the following was one of the most famous battles in the 100 Years' War? The Battle of Agincourt, the Battle of Bannockburn,
Hastings,
the Battle of Culloden, or the Battle of Waterloo?
Okay, you have to repeat all of those again because I thought it was going to be clever and say Battle of Hastings.
The Battle of Agincourt, the Battle of Bannockburn, the Battle of Culloden, or the Battle of Waterloo. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing these. This is just how I've said it in my head to study.
Waterloo.
Wrong.
The first B.
Wrong.
A.
Yes,
Agincourt. I thought it'd be that one, but I never
did you?
I did, but
During the Middle Ages, England was an important trading nation, and people came to England from abroad to trade and also work. Where did the engineers come from? Italy, Germany, Holland, or France?
Holland. Italy. Oh, don't whisper. Say if it's wrong or not.
Wrong.
Germany.
Yes.
Why do you need to know that to live here in 2025? Okay, go again. One more. Let me
Sorry,
get one
some of them are pretty shit. How many verdicts are possible in trials in Scotland? Do you know the question means? A verdict. Okay, so when you go to court and there's a jury, they give a verdict, right? So how many verdicts can there be?
Oh.
Either A, 2, guilty or not guilty. 3, guilty, not guilty, or not proven. 3, guilty, not guilty, or on hold. Or 2, guilty or not proven.
B, the three of them, not proven, guilty and not guilty. That's correct. But that just seems like it.
How many wives did Henry VIII have?
6.
Correct.
I almost said 8 because he's Henry VIII. But that's just me being dumb.
Which of the following is the responsibility of the Home Secretary? Crime, policing, and immigration, managing relationships with foreign countries, health and education, or national and international defense?
You know, I'm going to make myself look so stupid now because I should know that. The Home Secretary.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the defense one? Was it? I know it's not the foreign one.
That's what you said. Oh, okay. Managing
D.
relationships with foreign countries. You said national and international defense, which is
D. What was
national
D?
and international defense?
Is that right?
No.
Oh. What was C?
Education and health.
That one.
No.
What was A? What do they do?
Crime, policing, and immigration.
Oh, of course it's that one. See, I'm terrible at tests though. One more.
Easy one. Yeah? Which of the following sports can be traced as far back as the Roman times? Tennis, football, horse racing, or pool?
I was hoping you'd say cricket there. Don't know why. Well, the answer. Give me the answers again.
Tennis, football, horse racing, or pool?
They had horses. I can't imagine. They're back to when?
The Roman times.
There's no way they had a pool table. There's no way they were playing pool. So not that one. Tennis. It's got to be football.
Football, final answer?
It's gonna be fucking tennis, isn't it? It's football.
Wrong.
What is it?
Not tennis.
Is it horse racing?
Yes.
I thought it was too obvious because they had horses. What a stupid... Hang on, read that again. Say it again. What?
Which of the following sports can be traced as far back as the Roman times?
Why do you need to know that to live here?
Okay, let's make this the last one because you speak this language. When did English become the preferred language of the royal court and parliament? Any guess off the top of your head before I read the selections?
Hang on. When was it not English? What are you on about?
So English is derived from different languages.
Right.
I think it's French and Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
Anglo-Saxon and Roman, something like that. So before...
it'd be earlier than 1600s. 1400 and something.
Do you want me to give you the answers?
Give me some options.
Okay. 1300, 1400, 1345, or 1567.
See, I fucking hate tests. But they rounded it. There's no way they did it on like the millennium. Would that be the millennium?
I don't know. No.
Not the millennium, the century.
Yeah.
Like 1300. Let's be English now. 1400, let's do it. So that means I've now got a 50-50 chance between the ones that was something 45 and
1345 or 1567.
yes, definitely out of those two.
Which one?
1355 and what?
1345 or 1567.
13.
Wrong.
The 15 one.
Wrong.
It's the other fucking ones. 1300.
Wrong.
Fuck this.
It's 1400.
So we started speaking English in 1400 on the dot on New Year's Day. 40 bollocks. Fucking no way. So you have to bedtime, everyone. That's the end. No. Yeah, but don't you think, no, that's fucking stupid, that test.
I liked studying for it. Like the stress of having to pass it was a lot.
That was
and
ridiculous,
I do kind of wish that like it's my own fault, but I do wish that I knew that I had to take it before, like a week before I had to take it.
Yeah, because you thought you had to take it for citizenship, which is what you do after this.
Yeah, so I thought this was going to be like a visa renewal, and I think I remember what it was now. The kids, we got back from holiday, and then the kids had a week off of nursery because we got back right during school break. So I think I started applying for it like June 6th because I thought that would be plenty of time.
Yeah.
Wasn't. That's why I only had like a week to study, and we were going away that weekend. Yeah, so I actually enjoyed learning, but
yeah, and you've actually said now you want to learn more.
I've always been interested in history, but I've never been interested in the monarchy, like the history of the monarchy.
You've never been forced to do it either.
I've never been forced to have to do it, but I remember so much of this from like high school.
Really?
That like just key things like the Magna Carta.
I was so bad at history.
William the Conqueror and things like that. I do, and Oliver Cromwell. Like I know these names.
I feel like I didn't do history after year 9. I think I dropped it.
Well, we weren't allowed to do that. We do.
I think I did. I don't remember doing history. Because all I remember from history,
UK school system.
All I remember from history was World War II and Henry VIII. But I could not, in my 13-year-old brain, work out why I have to learn about Henry VIII, who lived fucking hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
What significant thing did Henry VIII do aside from get married?
He did something, pissed off Wales or something.
No, he conquered Wales essentially. I don't know.
He
if
pissed them off. I was right then.
But what significant thing?
What do you think of Henry VIII?
That's true. But what significant?
Big cunt.
He did a very significant thing, and it was not 6 wives, and it was not Wales.
Well, he cut their heads off.
Whose? No, that's
his wives. He got them beheaded.
He did kill a few of his wives.
Yeah.
For adultery.
Big cunt.
Yeah.
And what did he do with Wales? What did he do? I don't know.
So.
Fucking 8.
He got married to, can't remember now, Catherine, somebody. His first wife.
See, I thought that
kept having girls, and he wanted a boy because he wanted to pass on his kinghood.
Yeah.
Kinghood. I don't know. And then his first wife got old, and she couldn't have any more kids, so he wanted to divorce her. But that is against the Roman Catholic Church, which is what Britain was following at the time, and he was pissed about that. So he basically said, fuck you to the Pope, we don't want you in England, and removed England from the Roman Church so he could get divorced from his first wife. And that's where the Church of England was established.
Wow. I never knew that. Half of that went in one ear and the other.
I definitely like butchered it too.
Yeah.
It was definitely a more eloquent way of saying that. But
that's actually wild. I didn't know that. All I knew about him is he had wives. He's a shagger.
He was a big guy, wasn't he?
Big cunt.
Yeah, that's all I only knew that he had 6 wives and he was a big guy.
Yeah.
And he killed people, like his wife.
Yeah. And I thought that one of his wives, Anne Boleyn, I think it's pronounced Berlin, but I thought it was Berlin, like
Berlin. Berlin. Yeah.
But it's not. It's Boleyn.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so then we just applied for my last
fucking history lesson.
We applied for my last visa. After I passed the Life in the UK test, I literally submitted my visa application that day. But then we had to, so you submit your visa application online, and you have to gather your paperwork, and then you go for a biometrics appointment at one of the biometric offices in the UK.
Worth noting though, once you apply for the visa, now definitely do your research and don't just take my word for it. But once it's submitted, you are then covered by a law that came out in the 70s.
You should, I think it's that you should get your biometrics done within 3 months. But because
no, as soon as possible, unless for any emergency reason, any extreme reasons, if there is availability for you, you should be taking as soon as you can. But you are covered. So if that's after your expiry date, it's still fine. You're not going to be deported because you've paid.
Your application is
for
submitted.
Yeah.
I was too nervous to do that though. I booked an appointment.
You're thinking ahead though as well. You're thinking about when you go for citizenship. You don't want.
I don't want the question to come up, have you ever overstayed on your visa, and me not know how to answer that, which it's probably a simple question of no, because technically you were still allowed to be here, but you don't have a visa anymore. So to get rid of future stress for my next citizenship paperwork and stuff, I just want to be able to answer the questions as simply as possible. I didn't overstay my visa.
Yeah.
So my visa expired on the 24th. We went for biometrics appointment in Cardiff on the 20th. I submitted,
which was a Friday.
Last much paperwork.
It was a Friday. We paid the extra to expedite it
for the next day answer, and I'm so glad we did that.
By the way,
gets rid of the stress.
If you look up how much this all is, you could be looking at us thinking, "Look at these fucking it's right for some. They can do it."
Mm-hmm.
I'm still paying off the loan for the 2.5 year, but your second visa,
the 2022 visa.
Still paying that loan off,
mm-hmm.
and I have been saving
for this visa
since then. So we knew that when we were here, we'd have the money for it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't realize it was going to be as much as it was, which means that the extra savings is now nothing, minimal. But that is, I'm saying this because it's not cheap.
No.
And it's not affordable.
It's not.
It's fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So you do everything you can. Don't go out for drinks all the time. Don't spend your money on stuff that when you come to try and live here permanently, or you've got a bit of money to one side, or you're able to, instead of take a loan for an expensive car, you're able to take a loan for your fucking life here. So that's something that I would just keep in mind about. You might meet the requirements of how much you need to earn across the year, but are you able to afford fucking a few thousand to actually do it each year? Yeah. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. That just always put a pot money to one side in a pot and forget all about it.
Yeah, for the visa. Look up how much
Even
it
if
is.
it's £10 a week.
And the price keeps going up. Like when we first applied, it was I think £1,000 less than what it is currently to apply for a visa.
I don't know, because what you've just done is more expensive than the last one anyway.
But the price is constantly going up. The threshold that you need to be earning is constantly going
relevant,
up.
Isn't it?
When we first applied for the visa, though, the threshold that you needed to be making was $19,000 a year. That has gone up to $29,000 a year.
Combined income, though.
Yeah, but you can do combined income.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's combined. If someone was watching this, it's a combined. This is just for spouse visa.
It would be R2 incomes need to be over.
Yeah, it was 19,000, which was minimum wage.
Yeah,
or less than.
Basically, that you needed to have a full-time job before. But now it's significantly more. But that's across all visas is 29,000 now, and they're bumping it again.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
They're also talking about, so you've been able to do this now. So this is your third visa, and you've got, I keep forgetting the word, settlement. Mm-hmm. So you don't have a date that you need to be kicked out, which is so nice. But they are talking about extending that to being able to do that to 10 years or 7.5 years.
I think they already have.
But you've just got in it at the right time. Yeah,
because when I first applied for my first visa, I was on a 5-year route. And if you applied today,
that's what it is.
I think it might be a 7.5-year route. Don't quote me, look it up. But they're talking about it, or they've already done it.
I think it's 7.5-year route now.
Yeah.
And the current Prime Minister is saying about trying to extend that to 10-year route. Which just means more fucking money into the. To
be fair, though, it does, like, a lot of what you're paying when you apply for your visa isn't like handing the government money, being like, "Can I live here?" It's paying for your NHS surcharge.
Yeah, but you pay. Yeah, so some people could say, "Oh yeah, come over here using our NHS." Mm-hmm. You probably paid more to the NHS than most of my mates have. More than I have, probably.
It's free.
Yeah, but it comes out your tax.
Oh, right.
It's all covered under tax, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But you pay tax on your earnings.
Yeah.
But to even step foot in here, you've paid like 1,200 quid or 2,000 to even use it.
Yeah.
So even though you're paying 20%, however much comes out of your taxes,
but I also
you've already prepaid $2,000.
Unpopular opinion, I guess, but I also kind of understand it. Like I do do think if you don't have the capability of taking care of yourself financially, living in a different country, why should it be that country's responsibility to pay for you to live there? You know what I mean? Like if I got here and we didn't make enough money and it was totally fine for me to go on benefits, why would the UK government be paying me to live here when it's me who wants to live here and my country's over there? You know what I mean? So I kind of get it.
Yeah, I get it, but going through it it's easier to say, fucking what on earth is this? What are these fucking rules? Why can't you? We're married. Why can't you? That's a common myth as well.
Yeah.
A common thing that people think of, just because you are married, like British and American, that means that we now can just go and live in either
wherever
country.
We want, yeah.
It isn't the case at all.
No.
It means that you are able to apply
for a visa.
For the visa, which is very stressful and very expensive.
Yeah.
But
we
she did it.
We handed in our paperwork a Friday morning. My appointment was at 9:30, but we showed up at 9 and they took me right away. They scan your paperwork at the biometrics appointment, which took really long because I had a lot of paperwork. They take your fingerprints, they take your picture a shit ton of times. And then you leave, and then you just wait to get an email. And we were driving back from Cardiff. We had a day out in Cardiff.
Yeah, about 2:00.
Yeah, we had a day out in Cardiff after 9:00. We got lunch and walked around the mall and did an escape room.
We did an escape room, and so good.
That was really good. And then as we were driving over the Severn Bridge.
Severn.
Why do we say Severn?
Just imagine Severn, but with an R at the end.
I'm still going to say Severn. We were driving over the bridge, and my watch, like, it lit up that I had an email, and I was like, it's probably like the nursery or something. And I opened it and went, and he went, what? So I couldn't hide it from you.
Yeah.
But then I went to look on my phone.
Did you find out on the bridge?
Yeah.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
That is so cool that we found it on the bridge.
Yeah. Going from Wales to England.
On the Henry Bridge. Henry calls it the Henry Bridge because it's H.
Yeah, the things.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And you're like, why didn't you hide it from me? And I was like, how? Like, how?
Could have surprised me. Yeah, I said, why didn't you? You should have not said anything and then told me on the podcast and got my reaction there.
Yeah, but that's what I did. Like, I didn't tell you. I just went.
Yeah, but
what?
I'm like, who's emailing you? And like,
yeah, but you don't even know if it was a text. And then
no matter what it was, you went. You let. Yeah.
I was excited.
Yeah, of course. That's what I mean. Like, of course, I know what it was.
Yeah.
But it means that you have settlement here.
Yeah, and I can apply for citizenship. I have to look into more.
Yeah, so citizenship now is like $2,000.
But I also think that the rules have changed, and I don't know which one I fall under. I think if you're applying as a spouse, you don't have to wait 12 months after you get indefinite leave to remain to apply for citizenship.
Yeah.
But that might have just changed. So I don't know if I fall under that because we've got to look into it more. But yeah, next is the passport.
Yeah.
Citizenship, and I get to do a ceremony.
Yeah, just you got to
take an oath to the king.
You excited to do that? What a great privilege that is.
Every time I tell somebody, I told my mom that because she thought I had citizenship now, and I was like, no, it's settlement, and then I can apply for citizenship, and I'll have like a ceremony. Like, it's just a simple thing. You take an oath to the king, and every time I've said that to somebody, I think I said it to my little sister too. They went, "You get to meet the king?"
Just tell everyone, yeah. I've got to tell you about that. The customer that I've just been working for, American, and he's now living here, I said about, she's got to go to London for a ceremony, and he lives down in Cornwall, the bottom of Cornwall, and he said it goes through the councils. Oh. So he went to a local place. You just take an oath.
I want to go to London.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We'll make a day of it.
Yeah.
But I think that we could just go like Bristol. Maybe like you go to like a Crown Court.
Actually, Bristol would be kind of cool to go to too, because that's like our closest city.
That's where we started our relationship. Yeah. But I think that, because if you're like right up in top of Scotland or something, and you got to come all the way down to London to take an oath.
You have to go to parliaments.
I think that you might have to go to like courthouses maybe.
I think it is a courthouse. I think one of Henry's teachers is also married to somebody who had to go through this process, and she said that it's basically just going to a courtroom.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's like going to like a Crown Court.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think have we covered it all?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Sarah is getting more and more British by the day. Woo.
What is that?
I don't know. Tired.
I'm tired and I'm hungry.
But yeah, so excited that I'm so proud of you for passing, and I'm so excited.
It's driving me crazy though to not know
What?
how much I passed by on the Life in
yeah.
the UK test. Can you guys just change that? Can you just let people know like you were this close to failing, or like you got 100%? Like I want to know.
You think that the British government are listening to the Late Mike show, and they're going to listen to that and go, what a great idea. We're going to update the fucking website.
Yes. Everybody, send a message. All you 2 people watching, send a message to your local council and tell them, Life in the UK test, can you please give the results?
Yeah. There might be a way of you finding out. Look into it if it's pissing you off that much. Or just retake the test. It's different questions, though. Don't work. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. As always,
See you after bedtime.
see you after bed. I'm going to stop saying that.
Why?
I'm thinking of rebrand.
You've been doing this for 6 weeks. You don't rebrand after 6 weeks.
I'm not rebranding, but I upload in the mornings. Don't make it.
But we're filming after bedtime.
Yeah, true.
See you after bedtime.
Do you think we should keep see you after bedtime?
Yes.
All right. See you after bedtime.